Everybody's so quiet. Hi, Robin.
Hello.
Hello. Shana Tova.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Everyone who I saw last week and everyone who I didn't see. And to those of you that I can't see now.
Oh, Donnie.
Let's go to the first slide. The next one. Let my dad in. I won't begin without my dad. I do want to say welcome to all the people who are with us through live stream, through YouTube, especially anyone who's watching from the Jewish home in Harrisburg. And anyone else out there who we can't see, but who's with us. Because I'm sure there are people with us. We're going to begin with the next frame with blessing this space. Just by saying Ma Nora Hamakom Hazeh, which is what Jacob said when he had the vision of the angels going up and down the ladder. It was a dream, and he woke up and he realized that he was in an awesome place. So here we are in this awesome Zoom place, Ma Nora Hamakom Hazeh. I'm going to ask Jenny Kornfeld to come up and light a Yizkor candle. I'm hoping that all of you have a Yizkor candle. We say tomorrow at 5 o'clock we're going to say Yizkor.
Is there anything you want me to say? Or just
You can say anything you want to or nothing. I'm just going to say that the Yizkor service is tomorrow at 5 o'clock. There are some synagogues where they do it earlier in the day. We're going to do it at 5 o'clock. But the candle is going to be lit now. Oh, you can't see Jenny lighting it. How about, okay, he's going to bring me, put it, oh, we don't have a table up there. Well, we can put it on a chair. Put it, oh, you're going to bring that table up? Shall I? Let me help you.
No, I can't really that table. Just lift it up.
Well, I can help you lift it up. So for all of you who are saying Yizkor, which is probably most of you, I hope that you have candles to light at home. There's no blessing that's said upon lighting a Yizkor candle. The soul of a person is the candle of God, Ner Adonai Nishmat Adam. We'll spend a lot more time with this tomorrow, which is part of today. Next slide. Ira. Eileen Kranzel is going to light candles on behalf of the whole community. Also, if you have candles, anyone who has candles in your home, you can all light. I don't have any here, but Eileen, you're going to be lighting for me as well. So can you have the Zoom focus on her, Ira? On Eileen, so we can all see Eileen lighting. Can you pin the video onto Eileen? And unmute her. Ask to unmute. Eileen?
Yes, I'm here.
You're-
We don't see you. Can you pin the video on her? Yeah, but we want to pin the video so that we can all see her.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can. Take one of the ones and light with that.
I don't see. Okay, there she is. Good.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvosav tzivanu lahadnik ner shel yom tov.
Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign in all time and space. You make us holy in connecting command, calling us to kindle the lights of Yom Kippurim. Okay, now this is the only evening of the year where we put the talit on at night. I mean, the Shaliach Tzibur, who's ever leading services, wears a talit, but all of you who have a talit, we put it on. If you didn't already put it on. Where did my talit go? Oh gosh, what did I do? Oh, there it is. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit. Tzitzit. Ki imcha makor chayim ba'orcha nirei or, for with you is the source of life. In your light we see light. Or zahu ala tzadik u'liyishrei lev simcha. 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 B'yeshiva shel mala u'v'yeshiva shel mata hamakom v'al kahal anu matilin להתפלל עם הווליינים. Worlds are joined in this opening recitation. Upper and lower worlds are joined. The divine and the human are joined. We and they, those who have crossed the boundary to leave the we, are joined. This reveals our intention in seeking atonement at one-ment. We seek unification, the dissolution of barriers, the merging and unity that will culminate at the end of Yom Kippur. It is we who are the righteous, granting permission to participate in prayer. It is also we who are the unrighteous, seeking readmission to community of holy beings. Realizing that each of us is both righteous and transgressor is the first step in tshuva. So before I sing Kol Nidre, I'd like to again see all the faces so we can all see one another. So here we are, all the righteous and all the unrighteous. I'm going to sing Kol Nidre, then Rabbi Chopra will sing Kol Nidre. And I'd like to know, is there anyone among you who knows to sing Kol Nidre? Because we're going to sing it 3 times and I'm happy to sing it twice. But if there's somebody here in the Zoom room who knows it and feels moved to sing it, of course you can all sing along every time and we won't hear you, but please, I don't know if you know how to raise your Zoom hand, or if you can raise a real hand and just let us know that you want to sing Kol Nidre, you will be the 3rd singer. Invitation. Is anybody responding? No, okay, so if you feel moved after I sing and Rabbi Chopra sings, just jump up and down and you can sing the 3rd time. Next. Let's all read this together. I now prepare to unify my whole self, heart, mind, consciousness, body, passions, with this holy community, with the Jewish people everywhere, with all people everywhere, with all life and being, to commune with the source of all being. May I find the words, the music, the movements that will put me in touch with the great light of God. May the rungs of insight and joy that I reach in my devotion flow from me to others and fill all my actions in the world. May the beauty of God rest upon us. May God establish the work of our hands, and may the works of our hands establish God. We hear Kol Nidre 3 times. Anything done 3 times is a chazakah, a binding obligation. Chazakah shares the root with chazak, strong. As in chazak v'yametz libecha, be strong and open your hearts wide, which is what we sing every day during this whole period, Psalm 27. May this chazakah, this 3-fold repetition, strengthen our highest selves and open our hearts wide to the transformation this day can bring. Kol Nidre v'yasarei v'charamei v'konamei v'chinuyei v'kinusei u'shevuot din darna ude Udacharimna udeasarna al nafshatana miyom kippurim zeh ad yom kippurim haba aleinu letova kulhon icharat navehon kulhon yahon shran shvikin shvitin betelin umevutalin la shalirin velo kayamin nidrana la nidre V'esara la'esarei u'shvuatana la'shavut.
Kol Nidre Ve'esarei U'shvoei Ve'charamei Ve'kinomei Ve'kinosei Ve'chinoyei Din donam Ode ishtabanam Oda acharim nam Oda sarna nafshatana miyom kippurim zeh ad yom kippurim haba aleinu letova kulhon icharat nam vehon kolhon yahon sharon shvikin shvikin betelinum votalin la shririn vela ayamin nidrana la nidre ve'esarana la esarei u'shvuatana la shavut
ask again if there's anyone else here who feels called to chant this. So I'm going to go up, open the ark, and chant it in front of the Torahs. It won't be exactly the same text. There's a slight variation in Kol Nidre. And I invite you also to stand and feel free to chant along. Kol Nidre ונשלח לכל עדת בני ישראל, ולגר הגר בתוכם, כי לכל העם בשגגה. סלח נא לעוונם הזה כגודל חסדך, וכאשר נסעת לים הזה ממצרים עד הנה, ושם נאמר. ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדברך, ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדברך, ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדברך. Let's all say together the Shehechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, Yud He Vav He, our God, source of all being, who has kept us alive, sustained us, and brought us to this moment. So now again, please stand. The Baruch Hu is the call to communal prayer. I'm going to call the call, and then loud and clear. I'm going to ask Amy get a little closer, so 12 feet apart, but close enough everyone can hear you with the response, and you can say the response together with Amy. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro mari avim v'chochma potech sha'arim u'b'tfuna v'shanaitim achliot azmanim v'soder et kol klavim v'shotem b'rikei kirtzono borei yom v'layla golo or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or u'mavir yom u'medi layla u'mavdil bein yom u'bein layla Adonai tzvaot shemo El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yimoch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Hamari V'Aravim. Ahavat Olam. I'm going to ask somebody else to read. Let me see who will read this page. I need to see the faces. How about Andy? Would you read this page? Ask to unmute. You have to click on that. Andy?
Yes, I have to get that off my screen. Okay. We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love.
Thank you. Next slide. David, will you continue? David Kahn?
We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by unending love.
Ki hem chayenu v'orech yameinu v'hem negeh yomam v'layla v'avatcha tasir mimenu li'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. I'll ask for someone to read how good it will be. I can only see a few names, so I don't know who to ask. I can only see, how about Cindy? Would you read how good it will be?
How good it will be when you really listen and hear my directions.
We don't hear you. Oh, we do. Sorry, I don't hear you.
How good it will be when you really listen and hear my directions, which I give to you today, for loving Yah, who is your God, and to act godly with feeling and inspiration. Your earthly needs will be met at the right time, appropriate to the season. You will reap what you planted for your delight and health.
Bill Gladstone.
Also, your animals will have ample feed. All of you will eat and be content. Be careful, watch out. Don't let your cravings delude you. Don't become alienated. Don't let your cravings become your gods. Don't debase yourself to them, because the God sense within you will become distorted.
How about Mark? If you're here, is Mark here?
Mark, what up?
Yes, yes.
Heaven will be shut to you. Grace will not descend. Earth will not produce. Your rushing will destroy you, and earth will not be able to recover her good balance in which God's gifts manifest. May these values of mine reside in your feelings and aspirations, marking what you produce, guiding what you perceive.
Paul Kornfeld.
Teach them to your children so that they will be addressed by them in making their homes, how they deal with traffic. When you are depressed, when you are elated, mark your entrances and exits with them. Then you and your children will live out on earth, that divine promise given to your ancestors to live heavenly days right here on this earth.
Vayomer Adonai Moshe le'emor, Deber b'nei Yisrael v'amartu lehem v'asu lehem tzitzit, al kanfei begdehem ledoratam v'netnu al tzitzit, haknaf p'til techelet v'yalachem letzitzit, v'reitem oto zachartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam v'lo taturu acharei levavchem v'acharei einechem asher atem zonim achareihem. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות הוסף פלא. ונאמר כי בדד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. השכיבנו השכיבנו אדוני Let's have someone read this in English. John Bloom, if you're there, help us.
Okay, I'm here. Help us to lie down in peace, Adonai, our God, and to arise again in life. Spread over us your sheltering peace. Direct us with your guidance and save us. Protect and keep us from enmity, illness, violence, want, and sorrow.
Erica.
Remove envy and recrimination from us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are a protecting, redeeming God. You are God, our source of grace and mercy. Guard our going out and our coming in for life and for peace now and forever.
Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, haporeh sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. It's okay. It's okay. Next. No, we're done with the next. Shomer et amo Yisrael ad. And this is, no, go back. This is chanted only on Yom Kippur. It's from the Torah reading. No, go back. Ukiva yom hazeh yechaper aleichem litaher etchem mikol chatoteichem lifnei Adonai titaru. Yitkadash meraba bi'alma divrach yirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon v'yomechon b'chayedecho beit Yisrael ba'gala u'bizman kori v'imeru amen yesh meraba mevarach le'olam ad me'al maya Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitrumam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal shmei dekudesha barichu, le'ela u'le'ela, mikol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata menechamata, damiran, be'almaya v'imeru, Amen. We've now arrived at the Amidah. This page is showing us the themes, the 7 blessings of the Amidah. On Yom Kippur, actually, I don't think remembrance that's Rosh Hashanah. It's more, this is about forgiveness, the middle one. But it's about the holiness of this day, remembering this day and what happened on this original day. So it is many pages in your machzor, and it's many pages on the screen. Silent. It includes a silent slichot, which is all the al-chetz and the ashamnus. It's silent, and then afterwards we're going later in the service to do all of that aloud in slightly different form. So 7-8 minutes you can do this sitting, walking, standing. I mean, traditionally we stand, but however you want to do it. And I guess I trust Ira Beckerman to just pace it so that you can, if you don't have a prayer book, you can follow along. It's silent. Oh, wait a second. Yes, okay, yes. see the screen so I can see if people are davening still? I don't know. I want to see all the faces so I know if people are still praying or if they're done. I'd like to know if they're. I think we can. Rabbi Choker, would you please sing the Sefer Chaim?
בספר חיים ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה נזכר ונכתב לפניך אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל לחיים טובים ולשלום. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום.
Okay, these slides were part of it. Did you continue through these? You never did. Okay, I didn't tell you. I want to give a few more minutes if people don't have a machzor in their hands, because this is all part of what was the silent Amidah, to just read through these pages, just like another couple of minutes of silence. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Yehiyu leratzon imre fi vehegayon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri vegoali. May the words of my mouth and the longing of my heart be acceptable to you, the listener, my rock and my redeemer. I'm calling up our president and my hostess with the mostest whenever I'm here, Jenny Kornfeld.
Shana Tova, and welcome to everybody who's joining us tonight. In these days of COVID, economic woes, anger, and uncertainty, we are all struggling to keep our heads above water. And I hope that everyone is remaining safe and your families are coping with all the necessary changes. I recently read an article that reminded me that although we Jews make up a tiny fraction of the world's population, for thousands of years we have survived against tremendous odds. Through the Persians, the Romans, a Spanish Inquisition, and a Holocaust, we are still here. We have done this, the author suggested, by our stubborn resolve not to give in. We have resisted efforts to make us forsake our traditions. And while we have adapted, at our core, we are unchanged. Now we are facing another challenge. While hatred against us intensifies, we also face the threat of assimilation. There is nothing like being accepted to make us feel secure, to feel no need to actively participate. I understand that to many, prayer and synagogue attendance are not high on the priority list. However, our community still needs your support. And many times when facing a life cycle event, you reach out to us. So, although we are struggling, I am asking you to contribute what you can to this year's Kol Nidre appeal. The synagogue needs money to survive. Even though our doors are not open for personal worship, we still need to pay our utility bills, purchase office supplies, and provide security services for events we can hold. Recently, the small congregations of the West Shore have come together to support each other, to help preserve our communities, our buildings, and our cemeteries. All this takes money. Please review your pledge cards. If you have them, now would be the time to take them out, turn down your tab, put the card in the stamped addressed envelope provided, and send it back to us. TBS would like to thank those of you who have already sent us donations. And to all of you who are with us tonight, thank you. And may you stay safe and healthy. Shalom.
Thank you, Jenny, for everything that you do to keep this place going. And also want to thank the other two people. There are two other people here with me. Ira Beckerman, who's the Zoom Gabby, the tech whiz, not the whiz, but he's stepped up to the plate even though he had no prior experience. And Amy Rundle, who's also sitting here as a support. Okay, we continue now. We're not going to sing this. There's beautiful melodies for this, but this is from Hallel, which we sing on other holidays. But we're in a narrow place in many ways. And from this narrow place, we call out and we hope for to be answered with expansiveness. Okay, so now what we did silently, we're going to do aloud. Yale, yale, tachnunenu me'erev, ve'yavo shavatenu mi'boker, ve'yera'erinunenu ararev, ve'yera'erinunenu ararev, yale kolenu me'erev, ve'yavo tzidkatenu mi'boker, ve'yera'eh pidionenu ararev, ve'yera'eh pidionenu ararev, yale inuyenu me'erev, ve'yavo slichatenu mi'boker, ve'yera'eh nakatenu ararev, ve'yera'eh nakatenu ararev. And this continues for many more verses. May our prayer rise, Ya'aleh. And if you look, you can see it's a reverse acrostic. Tachnunenu with the taf, shavatenu with the shin, rinunenu, and it goes all the way to aleph. In English, let me call on some readers. I need to see the page of readers. CJ, are you there? CJ or Lisa?
I'm here. You want me to read May Prayers Rise?
Read the whole page.
May prayers rise. May our prayer arise this evening. May our cry come before you by tomorrow morning. May our song be heard by next nightfall. May our voices arise this evening. May our righteousness be found by tomorrow morning. May our redemption be fulfilled by next nightfall. May our fast arise this evening. May our plea for pardon come by tomorrow morning. May our sighs be answered by next nightfall.
Thank you. Corey? Did you see her? To unmute her? Corey Goddessman? You have to click it. Don't you? Corey, are you there? Emily, go to Emily.
May our memory arise this evening. May our community unite by tomorrow morning. May we see your splendor by next nightfall. May our knocking upon your gates arise this evening. May our joyfulness come by tomorrow morning. May our search for you be crowned by next nightfall. May our weeping arise this evening. May it reach you by tomorrow morning. May you answer us by next nightfall.
We long for transformation as we cast our voices upward on the wings of the day. Words pile on words, creating a ladder, ascending to the heart of prayer. I hope that you're all singing along from home. I can't hear you, unfortunately. That's the weakness of Zoom. But the chorus is Chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu, which means we have sinned, or I prefer, we have missed the mark. Have mercy on us. Have compassion on us. Adon haslichot bochen lebavot gole amukot dover tzedakot chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu Hadur beniflaot vatik benechamot zocher berit avot vimaot choker kilayot chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu. Carl, do you know this? Would you sing the next verse, the next section?
Tohu meitiv lihibriyot Yodea kol nistaharot kol veshavonot lo vesh tzedakot Chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu.
Male zechiot nora tehilot solei achavonot one batzarot chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu Poel Yeshuot Sofer Atidot Kore Hadorot Roche Baravot Shomei Tefilot Tamim Deot. Together, Chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu. Chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu. I want to comment on that piyut, that hymn. Clearly, that melody is not an Ashkenazic melody. That is a Mizrahi melody. I don't know if it comes from Morocco or Iraq or Yemen, but it's clearly not a Western melody. And it's like you can hear, it seems maybe inappropriate or unlike a lot of what we sing because it feels joyful. You know, we sinned and it feels joyful, but the reason for the joy, Yom Kippur is not considered a sad day like Tisha B'Av, the destruction of the temple is. Yom Kippur, there's joy in the day because we have faith that if we do the work, not only today, but throughout the year, if we commit to doing tshuva, that God will have compassion on us. So that God's compassion is the major theme of the day. We are as clay in potter's hand. Okay, I have the verses in the book, but we'll just read it and then we'll sing the chorus. Let's see. Jeff, will you read these verses?
We are as clay in potter's hand. She does contract, she does expand. So we are yours to shape at will. We yield to you our passions still. Like masons shaping rough-hewn stone, we are your stuff in flesh and bone. You deal with us in death, in life. We yield to you. Please heal our strife.
כן אנחנו בידך חסד נוצר לברית הבית ואל תפן ליצר. We are in your hands, God of love and forgiveness. Remember the covenant and don't destroy your creation. Next page. I will actually sing this because it's such a beautiful, the Smith to this. Okay. Ki hine kagarzen beyad hecharash birtsono di bekla or uvirtsono perash. Ken anachnu biyadcha tomecho nivarash lebrita beit ve'al tefen leyetzer. Next page. Okay, for all of us, this is the 13 attributes. These are the 13 attributes of God. This is from, I'm sure many of you know, but I'm going to remind you that this comes from the point in the Torah in Exodus where after the golden calf and Moses is really just fed up and he just says to God, I can't continue doing this. I can't keep leading these people. I need to see your face. I need to, and God says, I can't show you my face. You'll die if you see my face, but I'm going to put you in the cleft of the rock and I'm going to pass before you and you can see my back. And as God passes before Moses, this is what he says. And the concept of seeing God's back, there's many interpretations of it, but one of them is like being able to see the effects of God. Even if you can't see God, we can see the effects of God. And these are some of the effects of God. We see many effects. They're not all. This is the part of it that's chosen for this day. And it's referred to as the 13 attributes. I don't need to put these on, but please rise and let's chant this together. We'll chant it twice in Hebrew, and then we're going to chant it once in the singable English at the bottom of the page. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum Vechanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed Ve'emet, Notzer Chesed L'Habim, Nosei Avon V'Fesha, V'Chata V'Naker, Adonai, Adonai, El compassion and tenderness, patience, forbearance, kindness, awareness, bearing love from age to age, lifting guilt and mistakes, and making us free. Remain standing. Shema, Shema Koleinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus v'rachem, rachem aleinu, v'kadav rachamim uvratzon et tfilateinu, Hashivenu Adonai Elecha, v'nashuva, Chadesh yameinu kekedem. Al tashlicheinu milefanecha, Baruch kodshecha al tikach mimenu. Al tashlicheinu le'et zikna, kichlot kolcheinu. Al tazveinu Adonai Eloheinu, al tirchak mimenu. Aseh imanu ot l'tova, v'yiru sonenu v'yevoshu, ki ata Adonai, azratenu v'nichamtenu, amreinu hazinu Adonai, bina hagigenu, yiu l'ratzon imrei finu v'gayon lebinu l'fanecha Adonai, surenu, ki lach Adonai, ochalnu atah, Taneh Adonai Eloheinu. This is what I just chanted. Take a minute to look at it. It was part of the silent Amida also. You may be seated. Although I think you're gonna have, I'll ask you to stand again in a moment, but let's see what's on the next page. This we can sing sitting. Amy, would you lead us in the beginning of it? The Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, page 816 in Kol Nidre.
Can you start me on the two?
Well, there's more than one, and that's the issue. That's why I like to have other people from the congregation do it. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, slach lanu.
That's the one I know.
Okay. You can just kind of fudge at the beginning. It's okay.
Okay.
Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Yamoteinu, slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu. Do you want to sing this with me? We'll just keep
Sure.
and we'll keep it at a distance. But maybe you can also be in you can be over there so they can see you. Maybe we can't both be seen, but. Ki anu amecha v'yata Eloheinu, anu banecha v'yata avinu, anu avdecha v'yata Adonenu, anu kelecha v'yata kelkeinu, anu nachalecha v'yata go'aleinu, anu zonecha v'yata ro'einu. English. We are your people, and you are holy source. We are your children, and you are parent. We are your helpers, and you our guiding spirit. We are your body, and you our designer. We are your images, and you our true essence. We are your flock, and you our shepherd. We'll continue. The song complete. Let's continue. Anu chamecha v'yata notrenu, anu geulatecha Viata Yotzreinu Anu Rayatha, Viata Dodenu Anu Segulatecha, Viata Koveinu Anu Amecha, Viata Malkeinu Anu Me'amirecha, Viata Me'amireinu. We are your plantings, and you are gardener. We are your creation, and you are origin. We are your companions, and you are beloved. We are your treasure, and you delight in us. We are your people, and you are our sovereign. We solely favor you, and you recognize us. Ay, 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 ay. Asham nu, Bagad nu, Gazal nu, Dibar nu Dofi. Everyone together, I hope. I can't hear you, but I hope you're singing. Ay, 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 ay. Hevinu, Vehirshanu, Zadnu, Hamasnu, Tafalnu, Shaker, Yatsnu, Ra, Kizavnu, Latsnu, Maradnu, Niatsnu, Sarnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Sararnu, Kishinu, Oref, ay, 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 Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Tainu, Tiatanu. Ay, 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 ay. Okay, so we continue. We were doing the chest. There's traditionally pounding for each chet, for each missing of the mark. And in the last like 30 years, a lot of people, instead of pounding, are more just, trying to let it get in somehow. The realization that we have, each one of us, done many of these things, and as a community, all of these things are happening. So it's to try to get it into us. I'm not going to read the rest of them in Hebrew. We're going to do them in English. Together, I hope you're all reading. For the sin we have sinned against you under duress and by choice, and for the sin we have sinned against you by hardness of heart. For the sin we have sinned against you without knowing, and for the sin we have sinned against you in our speech. For the sin we have sinned against you by public immorality, and for the sin we have sinned against you openly and privately. Go to the Al Kulam. I think there's, go to the next one. Okay, this chorus, we're gonna keep going back, but this is the chorus. And Amy, would you sing it again the way that it's Ve'al Kulam Elohai Slichot? Also, be ready to unmute Robin and Lisa, because I asked them to sing the choruses. One at a time. So Amy will do this one, and then Robin and Lisa will each do Charles. He's under Charles. Okay, go ahead. V'al kulam elochei slichot salach alanu machalanu kaperlanu. Go back and then get ready to unmute Robin for after we say some more. Next slide. No, the next one. Okay. For this sin we have sinned against you with knowledge and with deceit. And for this sin we have sinned against you by speaking harshly. For this sin we have sinned against you by wronging a friend. And the sin we have sinned against you in our deepest thoughts. For the sin we have sinned against you through immodesty. And the sin we have sinned against you through insincerity. Next. For the sin we have sinned against you by contempt for teachers and parents. And for the sin we have sinned against you willfully or unintentionally. For the sin we have sinned against you in the abuse of power. And for the sin we have sinned against you in failing to live up to your name. For the sin we have sinned against you with defiling speech. And for the sin we have sinned against you with foolish talk. Robin.
V'al kulam Elohai selichot Selach lanu michalanu kaper lanu.
Oh, that was it. No more sins for now, but there'll be more later. Okay. The last one will everyone say, for the sin we have sinned against you by giving in to evil impulses, and the sin we have sinned against you by harming both strangers and friends. One more time, Lisa. Ve'al kulam Elohai selichot Selach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu. For all of these, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement. Oh, there is more. Oh my goodness, there are lots more. Okay. Now I understand. Okay, I'm gonna ask someone else to read. Corey Gottesman, if you're there, would you like to read? See if you can unmute her. Corey, are you there? How about Dottie Gottfried? Did you try Dottie Gottfried?
For the sin we have sinned against you with lies and broken promises, and for the sin we have sinned against you through bribery. For the sin we have sinned against you with scorn, and for the sin we have sinned against you with slander. For the sin we have sinned against you in business, and for the sin we have sinned, can't read the bottom.
Against you with food and drink.
Food and drink.
Continue.
For the sin we have sinned against you through greed, and for the sin we have sinned against you through arrogance. For the sin we have sinned against you by conspiring, and for the sin we have sinned against you by spying. For the sin we have sinned against you by looking down on others, and the sin we have sinned against you by ignoring others.
Robin.
Lam Elohai selichot Selach lanu michalanu kaper lanu.
Lawrence.
For the sin we have sinned against you by forcing our will on others, and for the sin we have sinned against you by giving into our desires. The sin we have sinned against you through our thoughtlessness, and the sin we have sinned against you through our stubbornness. For the sin we have sinned against you by rushing to do evil, and for the sin we have sinned against you by gossiping. For the sin we have,
Rebecca with another reader. Thank you. Rebecca Copeland at the bottom.
For the sin we have sinned against you with insincere promises, and for the sin we have sinned against you, baseless hatred. For the sin we have sinned against you by failing to lend a hand, for the sin we have sinned against you, failing to give our hearts.
Robin again, please.
Elohai Selicho Selach Lanu Michalanu Kaper Lanu.
Okay, please rise. Is the ark open? I have to check if the ark is opened here. I feel like opening the ark, but do you have it in the book? Do you guys have it in the Maxor?
1 second. Oh, I have 451. Okay, 855. No.
Okay. No ark. Okay, I won't open the ark. God is, we don't need to open the ark. Oh, Carl, do you know how to sing this the Barbara Streisand way? Because I only know the chorus, but this is like the Max Janowski. I assume that's Barbara Streisand. Do you know it? I didn't check this in advance. Did you unmute Carl? Unmute Carl.
Avinu Malkeinu.
Not that. No, Avinu Malkeinu Shma Kolenu, that version.
No.
Okay, I don't know it either. So Avinu Malkeinu Shma Kolenu, Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Lefanecha, Avinu Malkeinu Chamol Aleinu Ve'al Ola Aleinu B'Tafenu, Avinu Malkeinu Chale Dever V'Chev Aleinu, Avinu Malkeinu Chale Kol Tsar Umastin Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, we have sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, have mercy on us and on our children. I hope you're all reading this with me. Avinu Malkeinu, rid us of sickness, sword, hunger, destruction. Avinu Malkeinu, rid us of persecution. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of a good life. Avinu Malkeinu, renew us for a good year. Now, Carl, this part was what you were singing.
Avinu Malkeinu, Vanenu Vanenu, Avinu Malkeinu, Vanenu Vanenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim, Aseh imanu. Tzedakah v'chesed, Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vanenu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vanenu, ki ein banu maasim, aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu.
Okay, you can keep this slide. I'm going to now say some Devarim. Everyone can, you can sit. Devarim meaning words. And this is like a collage. If I would have had more time, I would have made different fonts and different directions. And but these are some of the themes in this talk. Repeating a bit of what Jenny said. So much has changed in the world during the past 7 months. So much chaos, so many natural disasters, so much death and destruction, so much social upheaval. We are still in the thick of all of it, including the most heavily charged US election in 150 years, re-triggering trauma going back to the Civil War. The death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg on Erev Rosh Hashanah has injected a whole new element of instability and fear into the already existing tension and turmoil. I spoke on Rosh Hashanah about Kedusha, holiness of place and holiness of time. Turning our awareness to the sacred is one way to cope, to keep us from despair and madness. I grew up in a secular home where neither God nor holiness was mentioned. I spent 8 formative summers at a socialist Zionist camp, which instilled in me a love of Israel and the Jewish people. We also studied socialist theory. Karl Marx famously proclaimed religion is the opiate of the people, the opiate of the masses. I agree with this. And yet, at a certain point, I realized the fact that religion can be used as an opiate does not mean there is no God. Focusing on finding refuge in what is sacred need not be an escape from personal and societal challenges, but ideally nourishes us and gives us perspective so that we can better live with these challenges and respond to them in healthy, productive ways. Standing before you each year, praying the liturgy and the Machzor, singing melodies that came into the world through souls of other Jews, I always feel humbled, but also firmly grounded and guided. When I chant the prayers, I feel myself as a vessel. My kavanah, my intention, is to get out of the way and allow something beyond me, something sacred to come through. But when it is incumbent upon me to find my own words to comfort and inspire in the face of all that's going on in our world and in the United States at this moment, I feel far more challenged and humbled this Yom Kippur than ever before. Last week, I heard 3 poets speak about their writing process. I'm not a poet. I was listening to poets. It was in the context of a 10-day online summit about healing collective trauma. And each day there's a poet. They each described their writing as a practice of listening for what needs to come through. So I listen. Shema, it's what we're told to do. Shema Yisrael, Shema Amita. When I listened, it was a few days ago when I was at a total loss, I kept hearing the word katonti, which is from the Hebrew word katan, the Hebrew root katan, which means small. I'm too small for this task. This is beyond me. Many of us are feeling this sense of katonti now. We are all facing a collective situation that feels overwhelming. Some of us have been directly affected more severely than others, but all of us are affected. Depression and anxiety have dramatically increased during the COVID pandemic in all sectors of society. We are grieving the senseless loss of life, grieving the loss of many species due to human-induced climate change, grieving the ways that we've lost our daily life and familiar, comfortable routines, grieving the loss of work and income, grieving not being able to hug our loved ones, grieving property burned to the ground on the West Coast, grieving injustices all over the world. And now to all of that, we add the fear of losing health care for 20 million people who benefit from the Affordable Care Act, losing a woman's right to choose, and God only knows what else. What can we do when we don't know what to do? Stop, breathe, listen. Listen inward. Settle into our bodies, be present with our emotions. Listen outward, beyond our thinking minds, into the realm of inspiration, the open space that is full of energy. Listen for God's guidance. So, in the small process of thinking what to say tonight, when I decided I can't think anything out. Nothing's going to come through thinking. I have to listen. So that's in the micro, but I think it's in the macro for all of us. We need to be listening. I heard this word katonti, and I flowed with this word. When we don't have the whole solution, we can only follow the thread of what we do know. Not recalling where in the Torah the expression katonti appears, I turned to my favorite rabbi, Rabbi Google, for assistance. A contemporary Israeli song came up first. The words are Jacob's from Genesis chapter 32, verse 11 and 12. It happened to be in my bat mitzvah parsha, but I had completely forgotten that. The words mean, I'll sing the song in a minute, but I'll tell you the words are, I am unworthy of all the kindness that you have so steadfastly shown your servant. With my staff alone, I crossed this Jordan, and now I have become two camps. Save me, please. So I'm going to sing it sort of like, I'm not going to sing Hineni this Yom Kippur. This is my Hineni. Katonti mikol hachasadim umikol ha'emet asher asita et avdecha. Katonti mikol hachasadim umikol ha'emet asher asita et avdecha. Hivma kli habalti et hayarden Behayiti lishnei machanot hatzilenina, hatzilenina, hatzilenina. Uvmakli avalti et hayarden, Behayiti lishnei machanot hatzilenina, hatzilenina, hatzilenina. In addition to being a beautiful melody, these words resonate deeply on many levels. They fit the mood of Yom Kippur when we repeatedly call out to God, naming God's 13 attributes, which include chesed ve'emet, words contained in the verse. And in Avinu Malkeinu, which we just sang, we plead in the chorus, we are unworthy. We have no deeds to justify us. Please deal with us with loving kindness. Again, the word chesed. In the Torah, Jacob says this when he is about to meet Esau, who, according to his messengers, is accompanied by 400 troops. It's been 20 years since they saw one another. 20 years since Jacob fled for his life after stealing the blessing meant for his brother. He feels guilty and fears for his life again. He divides his wives, children, servants, and flocks into 2 camps so that if one is attacked, the other may escape. As Rabbi said in his powerful sermon, we in the United States are divided into 2 camps, with a gaping chasm between us. In the biblical verse, the 2 camps are not in opposition to one another, yet this association arose in my mind of the 2 camps. And this is a little aside to say this is the beauty of Torah. As in poetry, we are invited to continually draw out new meaning from the black fire. Associative thinking is part of the game. In the Talmud, the Torah is referred to as black fire on white fire. The ink on the parchment is the black fire, and the white is all the interpretations and commentaries. All the generations, all of us, add our kindling to the white fire. 12 verses later, Jacob wrestles with the angel, man, God, his conscience, and receives a new name, Yisrael, God wrestler, and a true blessing, one meant for him. What are you wrestling with this Yom Kippur? And what blessing do you most need? Just take a minute with that. That's a question for each of us as individuals. What are we wrestling with, and what blessing do we need? We, as white people, and I say we because although there are more and more Jews of color, I don't know if there's anyone in this congregation who is a Jew of color. So I'm speaking, but very aware because it's now, there are more and more rabbis of color, but I'm speaking in the generalization here. That we as white people in the United States have been shown in recent months the imperative of doing some serious wrestling with ourselves as a collective. Many people are doing that wrestling. Others of us still need to get in the ring. Hopefully in the process, we will invite new blessings into this nation and into the world. Blessings that will be enjoyed by all of its inhabitants. Blessings that we genuinely earn, not ones that we acquire in questionable ways. Another point of resonance with Katonti is that in these times of COVID and social upheaval and fires and refugee crises, etc., I am very much aware of the many ways that I've been blessed. Like Jacob, I know it's not because I'm worthy. I was dealt a good hand. And with this privilege comes gratitude and also a sense of responsibility. As Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel said, in a free society, some are guilty, but all are responsible. As part of my tshuva work, I call out to God to help me to know what I can say and do to best support others, how I can become a tool for healing and transformation, both on the individual and collective level. I call out not only save me, Hatzilenina, but save us on behalf of the 2 camps, not Jacob's 2 camps, but the many camps, the many divisions in the world that need integration. Black and white, blue and red, Israeli and Palestinian, that's the world I spend most of my time in. There are infinite divisions. It helps me to hold the perspective that beyond all the divisions, we are one. To some, this oneness may seem meaningless, but for many, this perspective is helpful. Without it, we would despair. At the end of the Aleinu, we say, "V'ne'amar v'haya Adonai l'melech kol ha'aretz v'yom hu Adonai echad u'shemo echad." On that day, God will be king over all the earth. God will be one, and his name will be one. But whenever I pray this, I always change the ending. Sometimes I do it under my breath, but in my mind, I'm thinking, may we understand our interconnection. May we understand that we're one. That means people that I don't like, people that I don't agree with, people that seem very, very foreign and different. May we understand that somehow we're all interconnected. It's important to me to share that thanks to Wikipedia, I know that the composer of the melody for the verses I just sang, the Katonti song, which I hadn't thought of, I just had the word coming and coming, the man who wrote that, Yonatan Razel, who now lives in Jerusalem with his wife and children, lived for several years in a very extreme settlement in the West Bank. I mean, I know a lot of people who live in settlements or Jewish communities, however, what your perspective is, and this is one of the most extreme ones. I don't know what he was thinking when this melody came to him, but I'm sure that whatever it was, he was listening. And one of the nice things about Israel is you can contact people. I'm going to look him up and say, what were you thinking when you chose this verse for the song? But regardless, his music reminds me that beauty and wisdom and truth can come from places where we might least expect, which is easier for me to remember when I'm in Jerusalem, because even though I have very strong beliefs, I know many people who think very differently from me, but I still like them and I respect them. On the other hand, here in the United States, first of all, I don't live here most of the time, but even when I did, I have almost no interpersonal contact with people who hold significantly different political ideologies. In the absence of personal relationship, when people say and do things that I perceive as destructive to our democracy and endangering human life, it is challenging to reach across the chasm. But as Rabbi Choper said, we must all do our best to understand the other. And perhaps rather than conceiving of it as reaching across a chasm, we can devote some attention to feeling how others show up inside of us. Each of us shows up differently in each other one of us. We all psychically interpenetrate one another. This is not a conscious process, it's simply the way it is. This is most clear when people whom we love are no longer alive on this earth, yet they live on inside of us. And in that sense, we really are all interconnected. The Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, I'm sure many of you know who he is. He's now 92 years old, coined the term interbeing to express that. He's the father of engaged Buddhism. At a time when the Vietnamese Buddhist establishment was largely apolitical, he believed that Buddhists had to engage directly with people's suffering, and that meant getting involved in the political life of the nation. He founded a relief organization that rebuilt bombed Vietnamese villages, set up schools and medical centers, and resettled homeless families. He was one of Martin Luther King's greatest inspirations. Actually, Martin Luther King nominated him for the Nobel Peace Prize. Throughout the wars, first with the French colonialists and then between North and South Vietnam, Thich Nhat Hanh lived with a strong, clear belief that the spirit of poetic inspiration, the heart of spirituality, and the mind of love cannot be extinguished by death. I just want to say, I saw him in 1989 in Camden, New Jersey, really not knowing anything about him. And I was in a hall of like 2,000, it was huge. I came in late, I was in the back, and it was like, I didn't really know much. I don't know what drew me to go there, but he was like a sun. I saw that man as a sun on the on the bima. At times like these, we need the inspiration of moral and spiritual giants, such as the woman that we just lost. People who live or lived with integrity while facing challenges equal to or greater than the ones we face today. Another source of inspiration, light in the darkness, is Eddie Hillesum, a Dutch Jew who died in Auschwitz at the age of 29. She wrote, "I am not easily frightened, not because I am brave, but because I know I am dealing with human beings, and that I must try as hard as I can to understand anything that anyone ever does. And in oneself, one comes to recognize all the good and bad qualities of mankind. And if one wants to forgive others, one must first learn to forgive one's own bad qualities." There have been, as Jenny mentioned, there have been genocides, plagues, famines, wars, massive suffering in many parts of the world and in many sectors of American society for centuries, in fact, since the dawn of man. But this year, all of us have been affected in a way that we were not before. In the past, we could turn off the news and detach from the Syrian civil war or the African refugee crises or the Ebola pandemic. This year, the suffering of the world has penetrated our lives more. And many among us are also grieving personal losses. And due to COVID, all of us have been home more, giving us more time to reflect and feel what's happening in the world. I want to share one more quote from Eddie. If you were here, I have the idea I would want to give you hand out slips of paper with quotes, inspirational quotes, but I'm sure you all have sources that you can go to for inspiration. One more quote from her. "Living and dying, sorrow and joy, the blisters on my feet and the jasmine behind the building, the persecution, the unspeakable horrors. It is all one in me, and I accept it. I accept it all as one mighty whole and begin to grasp it better, if only for myself, without being able to explain to anyone else how it all hangs together." Whom do you turn to for inspiration? Who are your holy people? They may be famous or not, maybe a teacher from elementary school, or maybe someone who works in the post office. They might be alive on this earth today or alive in your heart. My friend and colleague, Rabbi Marisa Ilana James, recently shared these wise words. "In a novel, you can usually kind of tell. If the situation is a mess half of the way through, it'll be a happy ending. And if the situation looks good half of the way through, it's probably a tragedy. But there's no fixed endpoint that we know of to the arc of existence. So the story that we're living through might be the middle of the happy ending or the last chapter of a tragedy. But really, the answer is always both. We're always collectively experiencing a mix of the horrifying and the sublime. And the story is just what we decide to tell and how we decide to tell it. It's hard when there are so many valid reasons to be terrified. But the story that's most important to tell is that nothing is ever, quote, the end, and that even in the darkest times, individuals have done things that mattered. What we do now matters. That includes mourning those who have been and who will be lost, and then continuing to help make sure that we communally make it through. So, to attempt to connect the many meandering threads of my words tonight, well, you can see it on the screen. It's okay to feel small. Make space for grief and fear. Listen, open to inspiration. You never know where it may come from. Wrestle, open to blessings. Look for, rest in, and enjoy the sacred. And in the face of great uncertainty, hold on to and follow the threads of what you know. Shema Yisrael, Yud He Vav He, all that was, is, and will be, is our God, is part of God. All that was, is, and will be, is one. Gemar Chatima Tova. So now we're almost at the end of the service tonight, not the end of Yom Kippur, we're just at the beginning of Yom Kippur. I would like to take a little time for people to get into breakout rooms. If you don't want to get into a breakout room, you can recuse yourself, but groups of 3. I'm going to give you 10 minutes, until 9:12. And I'm gonna, the questions to share, and I really ask you, if each person gets 3 minutes to talk and then 1 minute to sort of sum up, because if you chat, it's not going to be the same quality, because you don't know if you start talking and you feel like you have nothing to say. If you sit in silence, something is apt to come. If you listen, something will come to say. So, I asked several questions. I asked, you can talk about what you're wrestling with and what blessing you need. You can talk about the thread of what you know. You can talk about where you turn for inspiration. You can talk about your experience of listening. So I'm not giving you just one question, but you just choose one, or whatever is coming out for you to say, whatever you hear and whatever you want to share. 3 minutes each. Can you give them a warning when each 3 minutes is up? Well, I know Amy knows how to do it, so she'll do that. And we'll meet back here at, let's say, 13 minutes after 9. Bye. If there are people. Breakout room, I can talk to them. They should all be in breakout rooms. In the breakout rooms, they can't hear me, right? Are there people, let's see, Mark Levine, Marilyn, Mark Widoff, you're not in a breakout room. Dad, I don't know if you're still here. But a lot of people didn't join. Huh. Okay, well, a lot of people did. Hi, Mark. Can you hear me? There's two Marks. Dad, are you still there? No. No, they won't close. What did you type that?
I thought they were closing at 96.
No, 9:13. No, don't say that. Oops, sorry, say we're switching, switch to the next speaker. No, I said 9:13. Sorry. Then they get till 9:09 and then they switch again and then they have the 1 minute to close up. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's why I made sure we took a walk.
Hi, Auntie Marilyn.
Hi, David.
How are you?
Okay, and you?
Very good, very good. Where's your little fuzzball at?
I just sent her out. She
Sent her
was
out.
sleep. Yeah, because the case she barked.
Yeah.
She was laying in here the whole time.
Hey,
Wow.
Marilyn.
That's good.
Hey, Mark Levine, are you there? Mark and Millie, are you there?
I hear my mama.
I think we're all coming
okay.
back, but I don't know.
Yeah. Hi, David.
Mama.
Hey. Robin, you did a wonderful job. I love that tune. I love to hear it sung. And
There's Mark.
Rabbi Carl, you did a great job.
Thank
Always.
you. Thank you. Hi.
Always. I love to hear you sing.
It's going to be the House of Chazans.
Hi, Mark.
That isn't what I thought you were going to say.
It's nice to see you all. Welcome back to the big room.
Hello, Rabbi.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, we're gonna, is everyone who's coming back? Yes.
Well, you didn't give us much of a choice, right?
Okay, we're gonna continue. We just have a few more things. A few more prayers and we'll call it a night. So go back to the screen share.
Not tonight.
Here we go.
So this is Leviticus 19, verse 18, which we're going to actually read tomorrow at Mincha. Not the first two lines, but the Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Hareinu mika'ablim aleinu et mitzvat habore ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha l'reacha kamocha. Hareinu mika'ablim aleinu et mitzvat habore ve'ahavta l'reacha
If she don't bark,
kamocha
let the door open. Hey, let the door.
Next slide. The Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon, please rise, ladon hakol, latet gidula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kugei haratzot. Well, Reconstructionists said, Kerav tanu le'avodatao, v'natan lanu torat emet. I don't know. Shelo samchokinu kahem b'gor aleinu kechol hamonam. Ve'anachnu korim u'mishtadim udim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. I want to just go to the Ein Ode. Some of you might know this melody, which means there is none else, nothing else but God. Ein Ode, Ein Ode, Ein Ode, Ein Ode. Shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz, u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim imahal, u'shchinatu zo b'gofhei meromim. Hu Eloheinu Ein Od, Ein Od, Ein Od, Ein Od, Ein Od. Therefore, we hope in you, Adonai, our God, to see soon the power of your beauty wipe away false gods from the earth and sweep away idolatry. so that the truth of your sovereign presence will repair the world. Then will all humanity call your name, and then all that has been dark will turn to light. And all who dwell on earth will feel in their hearts and know in their minds that you are our source, the true object of devotion and loyalty. Let's turn the Kakatuv b'toratecha Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed v'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu navin sh'Adonai echad v'nitneheg behetem lahavana hazot Ein od, ein od, ein od, ein od, ein od. We're coming into the Kaddish. Tomorrow again is Yizkor, but tonight we'll say the mourner's Kaddish. If you are either at the yard site of a loved one, or if you are in the year of mourning the loss of a loved one, and again, I am somehow missing the list, I take responsibility. I don't know what I did. So I'm going to, can you, well, first we'll read this, and then can you unmute all so that people can say names after we. This is from another Reconstructionist rabbi, Rabbi Miriam Margolis, who's in Toronto. Baruch Dayan Ha'emet. Blessed is the one who judges in truth. Blessed is the one who enables us to face truth. Blessed is the oneness we come from, the oneness we return to, the oneness all life embraces, sensed in the next breath, blossoming in our bodies. Blessed is the heart capable of breaking. Blessed the pain that only grows out of loving what will leave us. Blessed is the letting go. Blessed the gratitude, bowing at the open door, kissing the mezuzah at the threshold. Blessed is all that never dies and lives in us and through us and beyond us. May the Holy One and oneness comfort you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem.
Doesn't mind getting calm.
So now, ask everyone, can everyone be unmuted simultaneously?
I can ask.
Anyone who wants to say the name of someone who you're remembering, this is not for Yizkor, this is not for tomorrow, unless you're not coming to Yizkor tomorrow and you want to say them now, but yard sites and this year, losses of this year.
Norman Berg.
Barry Ben, Sharon Ben.
Lois Grass and Hannah Babby.
Philip Friedman.
Peter Hedrick.
I'm expecting that Sandy Starobin's yard site is about now.
Please stand if you are in the year of mourning or at a yard site, or if it's your tradition to stand during the mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal, V'yit Kadash, Shmei Rabbah, V'yalma Dibra, Chirutei, Yamlich Malchutei, B'chayecho Yomechut, B'chayei Dechir Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala V'zman Kariv V'imru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah, Yivarach, Olam U'amaya. Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitromam, Yitnaseh, V'yithadar, V'yitaleh, Yitalal, Shmei Kudashah, La'ela U'la'ela, Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tush V'chata V'nechamata, V'amiran V'alma V'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabba Mim Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh Shalom Bimroma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh Shalom Bimroma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel. I'm stopping here because we have still one more psalm to say and sing. So this is an interpretation of Psalm 27. Again, Psalm 27 that we say from the 1st of Elul all the way through Shmini Atzeret. Many years I've read interpretive translation by Nan Merrill, who comes from the Christian tradition, because I just love her translation. But this year I was shown Sheila Peltz Weinberg, who was once my rabbi in Amherst, that she's no longer there. She does the Institute for Jewish Spirituality, but she came up with this translation, which I love very much. So let us read. I would like to get some readers. Someone can read this page and someone can read the next page. Corey, now that I hear you're there, would you like to read this page in English?
I'll try.
Okay.
Should I read the Hebrew where the Hebrew comes in?
Sure, since you know Hebrew. Corey was my roommate in Jerusalem in 1986.
Okay.
So.
I'll try and do the Hebrew.
Okay.
David Adonai Ori Vayishi Mimi Ira Adonai Ma'oz Chaye Mimi Echad. Awareness is sunlight in the mind. No one can take that from me. Awareness is my life's stronghold. It absorbs all fear. Bikrov alai mere'im le'achol et besari tsarai ve'oivai li hema chashlu v'naflu. The hindrances and defilements are as close as my flesh and mind, but they dissolve in the light of being known. Even though I feel assaulted by hostile forces, my heart remains confident, balanced, and patient. I seek only one thing alone, to connect to this moment, nowhere else. Only this, nothing else, my palace in time. When difficulties arise, I have a hiding place in my heart, a secret tent where I can go and feel safe, a rock to rest my head upon.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you, Corey. I'm going to ask Emily, would you like to continue?
Sure. Greed, hatred, and delusion don't stop coming, but when they are
No, read it differently. Read hatred and delusion don't stop coming.
Okay. Greed, hatred, and delusion don't stop coming, but when they are met with a spacious heart, they don't stick around, leaving me so grateful I want to sing out loud. Listen, world, the power of love sets me free. When I turn to face my heart, then everyone and everything is revealed. Let this truth not be hidden from me. If only I could remember always what seems so clear right now, wisdom would guide my every moment.
I don't know, Robert Delson, are you there? The bottom, near the bottom, Robert Delson. Are you there? How about Herb Silver? You just, yeah. Okay, one more try. Rebecca Copeland. If not, I'm going to read it.
Awareness and compassion would be a father and a mother to me, but I can follow the guidance of those who have walked this path before, trying to stay alert to the obstacles along the way because delusion and hatred aren't disappearing so fast. Still, I affirm my faith in the power of goodness. May we take courage. May we be strong. May our hearts be so filled with love there is no room for anything else. May we see the arising and passing of all conditioned things. May we open to the unconditioned Yahweh.
Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, Yah. Thank you, everyone. And this is one verse from that psalm, our closing song of the evening. Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai ota avakesh. Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai ota avakesh. Shivti beveit Adonai kol yemei chayai. Lachzot benoam Adonai ulevaker bechalo. Lachzot benoam Adonai ulevaker bechalo. I think that's the last slide. So for all of you who are still here, which is most of the people that started, I am really happy to see you. Hi, Mark and Millie. It's nice to see you. I have to say hi to you in particular. There are people here that I don't know. Hi, Marilyn. I saw you last week. It's nice to see you again. And David. And Jeffrey and Rachel, you were here last week, and the Goldbergs and Cindy and Mark Widoff. I get to meet you. I heard all about you. I know that you're a real tzaddik. And my friend Corey and my friend David, and I'm just happy to see you all.